Welcome back to 90s Sports Movie Review Episode 3. And I got my co-host here. Jeff, how's it going, bro?
It's going great, man. This isn't a movie that like that's a staple of mine or stuck with me, on all these things. But
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you suggested it and I rewatched it and I had a great time, a surprisingly good time.
Yeah, this movie takes all the way back to 1992. I just heard like a snippet of a podcast by Will Ferrell. They said, "So what kind of films do you do?" He said, "I don't do films. I do movies. Films take like require work and everything, getting prep, learn from somebody. Movies, I just read a script and go and just spitball it."
Yeah, that is the difference. Like we went last week, we did a film. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We did a real film, like a Spike Lee joint. And this week we just did a movie, which is cool. Movies are, and honestly, it's really important because we kind of lose volumes of movies. Like this movie might still be made, like maybe a Disney Channel exclusive or maybe a
yeah,
Netflix or something, but like there just aren't as many like we used to just go to the movies every week regardless, and
mhm,
something would be on, and it's not really like that now. And this is a movie that you know it may not be as legendary as Sandlot or some of the other sports movies, but it's important that they're just out there, and especially kids. Mostly kids are going to be able to watch them for. We're up to almost three generations now. Of
true.
kids that have been able to watch this movie just because sometimes you just make a fun movie. You know what I mean? Just like eat some popcorn, watch a movie, and have a good time, and move on with your life.
Yeah, that's definitely the perfect description for this movie. Like we brought up, yeah, last week was a film. This one is just a fun movie. You can have the whole family come by watch it
Yeah, but
because
still told good storylines. Good storylines.
yeah, absolutely. What'd you think of like the beginning where had the typical '90s music and the boom 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 boom?
Bro, I mean that's when I grew up. Like
Yeah,
this movie came out. I was 17 years old. Like all this is very, very, very factual. This is exactly what it looked like. But for what here's what my take. Here's a couple takeaways that I had
oh,
was that we wore our clothes so baggy in the '90s. I don't know. Like this dude is supposed to be a slick lawyer, and he
oh
got a
yes,
baggy ass suit on. Which I know that it's fun to look back. But I mean, we're NBA fans. We know what some of the suits look like back in some of those '90s drafts and stuff.
yeah,
So that was one of my takeaways. Another takeaway was like, you know what? It was nice to watch a movie to where the greedy rich white guys were still the bad guys. Like that was
yeah,
fun. Just being like, remember when those guys were the bad guys? You know what I mean? And they didn't run the world. So like that was cool just to be like, yeah, that's what I grew up on. That's why I can't stand these dudes. So
yeah,
just a couple of takeaways right away that
yeah.
hit me.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like most of the villains back in the '90s, they weren't like trying to take over the world. They were just taking over some
Just
corporation or,
greedy.
yeah, just tearing down something that kids love so they could build like this big
Yes, we talked.
conglomerate things. You don't see that no
So,
more.
so here's what's funny. I mean, everybody, please watch. All these ones we've done. But when we talked about the Sandlot, we said that what made the Sandlot kind of cool and unique is that they didn't have this this villain, and this movie has several of them. So it was so nice to see. Like this is what me and AB were talking about that the Sandlot didn't have, and this movie has it. This is
Yeah,
literally the not the opposite, but like this is the other side of the Sandlot. What that movie would have looked like, and you can't compare the two. That's why one is going. One is more of a masterpiece, and one is more of a popcorn flick. But this
yeah,
is what it would have looked like if they'd have made the Sandlot typical '90s.
yeah, absolutely. And they had the stereotypical bullies in there as well. They say the same thing, and they're like beat it, twerp, and just shake and throwing kids into the trash cans.
It was kind of nice to see like oh man, I don't know how to tiptoe around this. Like you're more classic, ridiculous bullying rather than the real serious stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the not that this can't affect. I understand that, but I'm saying this was more like what we called bullies, but they always got their comeuppance. Like
All right.
stick a kid in the trash can, but then he's gonna find his group of friends, and then they're gonna get their butts kicked and all that. And just a little more lighthearted, take on it. Um, you know, it's just I don't '90s was a different time. I mean, we turned our heads to a lot of stuff that we shouldn't have, but it was a slightly more blissful time. 1992 was pretty laid back. Really, we weren't aware of anything. We were just completely unaware of what was happening in the world. Made a lot of mistakes, but it was easier. It was much less stress free living as a kid in the 90s.
Definitely. Speaking of kind of things that kind of slipped under the cracks, you see in a Disney movie a DUI. I don't know how Disney did it, but
Dude, it was great. I thought it was a great scene. I thought this was first of all, I want to say like, I'm someone who like Emilio Estevez was a really important part of my life. I grew up, growing up in the '80s as a kid. He was in a lot of the movies that were really important, and so just to see him again in a movie was like, oh man, it's just I don't know. That really took me back. But what I couldn't get over was the scene, like you say, in a Disney movie. This cat's just sipping on a road pop, driving like a maniac in his hot rod, just checking boxes of
yeah,
but they're totally ignoring how dangerous it was that he was out there in the snow drinking.
yeah,
He tosses the bottle in the back seat. Here's the thing: this obviously wasn't the first time this dude did this because he wasn't having a bad day; he was having a good day.
yeah,
So this is something. This is how this guy lived. They never really touched again on the alcoholism. If you ask me, the rest of the show, I'm like, never again did we see him just recklessly drinking
yeah.
and risking it all. So that was. But I mean, what they did, that was something at the time, and that was important. I thought it was cool that they did that. They're like, kind of one of the worst things you could do was drinking and driving, and
Yeah.
I don't mind that they did that, but it was wild to see when he popped that man.
Yeah, and the way Disney did, I was thinking, is because the music they put in there is that goofy '90s music when they're driving and
Fantastic.
stuff. I think that's the only way you can get away with things like that when it comes to things you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a serious thing not to do.
Yeah, but I'm kind of having fun. And you're sort of a little bit. You're like, man, it looks like he's having a good time. And you're like, no, that's not right. You know what I mean? He's endangering everybody. But like, I don't know. I don't know this. I don't know what he's drinking. I don't know how many he's had. I don't know any of that. So I don't even know why he's got beer in the car. Like none of the. They don't answer any of the questions. I just all of a sudden they're just like, this is how we're gonna get. I tell you what though, I do like. I thought it was actually a pretty well thought out way to get him in the predicament to
Yeah,
get him the community hours. So I actually thought it was a really good way to do it. It was just funny looking to see it. You normally they would just cut to the next day and be like, show it. No, they showed it. They
yeah,
showed him like
yeah. They
crazy.
usually because sometimes you'll see in movies like you know what you did. You were drinking and driving, so you're going to be doing this and that, and
Nope.
yeah. And I still, and then when you brought up about him in the suits, I'm thinking of those Carmelo and LeBron suits back in
Yes.
2003.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exactly what they were.
Yep, it was that's exactly. I don't know what we was doing. I really don't. I mean, I look back at pictures of me and like I wore like my clothes are all baggy and hanging off of me, and I'm like, well, I have no idea how did I think that a girl was going to go out with me wearing this stuff? Like I don't know. We really pulled one over on them.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, I see pictures. I had those long 4X shirts, and I wear a
Nice.
1X now, so I got these 4X shirts. And I keep a couple of them just to remember what I used to wear and what was I thinking.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? That's it. That's how it is, and that's what's fun about looking back at the past. We're gonna look like people are gonna look back at, especially like a few years ago, even in the 2000s, when they're gonna be like, why were the pants so tight? You know what I mean? Like, why was everybody's pants tight? Like everybody looked uncomfortable. Like it's always gonna be that way. I don't know if baggy's ever coming back. I know. Like I see it more with females. I do see them going a little
Yeah,
baggier and stuff, but I don't know if just like baggy suits and
yeah.
things. I don't know if that's coming. It might. We might all be dressing like crisscross someday. You know what I'm saying? Like we might come totally around.
I got some jerseys in the closet just in case. Just
Oh, can't man. This is my guys. Yeah. R.I.P. Man. R.I.P.
yeah, for sure. I'm over trying to read my. Okay, so let's get a quick detail. He got the DUI, so he was sentenced to 500 hours of community service,
Nice.
suspended. He's a lawyer. He got a suspended license. Suspended license, and he won't be able to do his lawyer stuff. And you could,
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of the movie, you could tell this guy is a workaholic. He lives
Yeah.
and breathes work. And
Yep.
I know we didn't get to describe how this all started. He was he was a hockey. He played hockey when he was a
Oh
kid.
yeah. We should probably
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah. He had the opportunity to get the game winning shot. He
Yep.
missed it, and you kind of can see that affected him throughout his adulthood because you've seen
Yeah.
some things where he wants to win and everything he does, like the cases and stuff as a lawyer, and he keeps talking about the big win. Even the one they head over is talking about winning. I was like, oh, this affected his adulthood.
Oh
So
yeah.
did you see that too?
Yeah, exactly. Like that was the whole thing. Is like I'll never lose again. But then it was like win at all cost and all this. But that's they show the flashbacks with his Pee Wee coach that kind of instilled that in him. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of a Ricky Bobby situation. If you're not first, you're last kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Gordon had he lost his father young, so his father figures weren't the best father figures, and he had spent his life thinking that all that mattered was winning, and it didn't matter how you did it.
That's true.
Empathy. His well, that's what's kind of weird about this, and that's when his boss is like, "I'm going to pay you, but I'm going to make you go do all this other stuff to teach you like to be a better person." All that. So at this point, we think his boss might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't even know where by the time we at the end we wound up on his boss, but I thought it was a pretty good punishment. You know what I mean? He wanted to, because Gordon hadn't had a family and learned all these things, and so he's kind of forcing him to do it. It's how he gets in the situations to coach.
Yeah. I'm like going to jail or coach a Pee Wee hockey team.
I mean,
I'm like that'd be the first option. Oh, I don't know nothing about hockey, but we can figure it out
yep,
for sure. And we get into the scene when it gets to he get introduced to the kids. I
uh,
got that scene when he pulls up in a
it's
limo
great.
on the ice.
It's great.
That's probably one of the best scenes and everything. These kids are they're wearing their whatever they are got on and got
Yeah.
their and they just look at it like who's
Yeah,
this?
I mean, and when we get a glimpse of what our team's going to be like, and you can just tell the personalities, the way the unique way they all dress. Like we get to see that we got the Bad News Bears. This is the Bad News
Yeah,
Bears formula.
absolutely.
We got a mixture of like they're ornery,
Oh, big
misunderstood
time.
kids, but we ought to like them. I mean, you automatically know there's the comedian, there's the guy with the chip on his shoulder, there's the like soft spoken kid, and all this stuff like pops out at you. And then yeah, Gordon tells it when he. I like the driver too. I like that they had the driver.
That's all.
Yeah, that guy was a really good touch throughout the movie. I mean, really, they like it's really a well thought out movie as far as characters go. So yeah, we meet our ragtag bunch of kids, and Gordon's basically dismissing them, and they attack the limo. But this is what we're talking about with this movie. Everything just speeds along, like it's quick.
Yeah, you can't blink your eye because then I was eating my dinner. I was like, wait a minute, when did this happen?
Yeah. This thing roll. This thing. I mean, this they really do. I mean, that's what I said. It's very well edited, very well wrote, very character driven. I mean, it really is a good movie.
Yeah, and then when you talk about the kid characters, you gotta remember they had the comedic chubby kid in there, Goldberg.
Always, always. That was a '90s staple. Our goalie, he really stole the movie. As far
Yeah.
I really out as far as the team kind of rested him. Well, Josh Jackson, who everybody, a lot of people are going to remember. Josh Jackson was the kind of the star of the team, but it was the goalie. I mean that was the goalie, the enforcers. I
Yeah.
love the two brothers and their dad. That was a great. The real. I mean, you really got by the time the end of it, you really got to know every kid. I love the kid that was kind of the comedian, always doing like little impressions and a lot of the
Oh
Saturday
yeah.
Night Live stuff. Which I would imagine that if you weren't my age, you don't even know what he's talking about half the stuff he said. But a lot of it was Saturday Night Live skits. And again, just coming at you rapid fire. There's the yeah, it's just really fun team, and you know, it, it, developing what each one of them needed out of the hockey
Absolutely.
games.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after that scene, the overprotective mom comes in,
Mm-hmm.
gives Emilio Estevez a number that whole time. How dare you have these kids out there? She's like, get out of the limo, everybody.
Yeah,
And
that was really
this,
cool. Yeah. Hey, can we talk about something? Let's really talk about what
yeah,
this movie was.
it was
This is about a man who was kind of a jerk, and immediately 180s his life as soon as he meets this woman, and
Yep.
does everything different from there on out because he wants to get with this woman. That is really what this movie is about at the core. As soon as he meets her, he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll straighten up."
That's what basically he did. Like you already when she started yelling at him, because that's the '90s trope is like the yelling woman at the main character. That's going to be the love interest. They're
Yep,
going to kiss at the end of the movie, and then they're going to be dating or getting married.
yep.
Like you already knew it. Like you don't. That could be your first time watching the Mighty Ducks, and you're like, oh, this is the love interest.
100%. You knew exactly what was up. Yep. And then, I mean, dude really like reflects on his life and changes like overnight. It was pretty. It was. I mean, it was. It wasn't. I mean, actually, he didn't. I mean, he made some mistakes, but it was. It was just. It just struck me when the movie was over. I was like, wait a minute. This whole movie was just about him getting with kid's mom. Like that was it.
Basically, and then it's just like and her son was just egging it on and stuff like. Oh. So why we talk about this right now? Just on the phone right now, but we'll get into a little bit of like the part of the movie about the most of the tropes you see in the '90s movies are pretty obvious, but the way they did it was funny and creative and everything like that. Let me see if I get this movie that's right here. Oh, we'll just keep right there. But let me see what we can go into. So the team is called the D5s, basically the district of the area where they are in Minnesota and everything. They're not the Ducks yet. We'll get into a talk about how they got the Ducks name and everything. It's not spontaneous or like crazy. Somebody seen a duck like we're gonna be called the Mighty Ducks. No, that's not what happened in the movie. But they're all wearing these ragtag type of uniforms. They all you see them in like red. Some are wearing different colors. Some are got football helmets on, softball helmets on, and everything else. I was giving them a quick description of like the uniforms. And I forgot to bring up they're not the Ducks yet. They're D5, District 5, and I think they're in Minnesota, right?
Uh, yeah, I believe it's Minnesota. That's funny. Yeah, yeah, because they go to the mall in Minnesota when they do their rollerblades. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, because I was talking about like their uniforms. You got some are wearing football helmets, catcher
Yeah,
helmet.
that's one of the Disney things about it. Like they don't even have the real equipment to play hockey. These kids all would have had like major injuries. Like I don't
Yeah,
because that's the one thing that they had been playing hockey. This isn't their first game. Like they're hockey players, but yeah, but they made it fun. They made it fun. That's where like the youth part of it. As an adult, you gotta be like, this part's not like I get it. It's far fetched that they wouldn't have hockey gear.
yeah,
Like, it would be easier to come across a hockey helmet in Minnesota than a football helmet. Like, why you didn't? They probably should have just gave them really bad hockey equipment, but it made it funny. So, you know,
yeah. It did like because in real reality, they wouldn't be having these kids wearing those type of helmets. Like you said, they've been bringing up. They've been playing, so they're like they're going like, oh, that's fine. At least they're wearing a helmet. Like, no,
yeah,
there'd be some lawsuits going
they
on.
didn't they didn't bother with a lot of backstory on the D5 team. You know what I mean? They just
Yeah,
they just let us drop in, and they were like, you know what? There's no reason for us to spend any time on this. So they don't know. You imagine in 1992, they don't know that Jeff and AB are going to be doing a podcast. They don't know what a podcast is. They're like, it's just a movie people are going to watch. That's it. They don't know if there's going to be streaming service. We're gonna dissect it. Nah, they're just like, let's just make it and go home. I bet it took them a week to make this movie.
oh yeah, no more than longer than a week for sure. Yeah, because they weren't thinking about how in 30 years people are going to be online talking about a movie that they did 30 years ago, critiquing the
Yeah.
little bit of things about it just to
Yeah, they did. That's why '90s movies. If you watch them, like, well, we're not just '90s, but anything before the 2000s, they were not worried about little details because you just didn't. You didn't see things. You didn't have widescreen. You
yeah
didn't see the little things. You didn't care about the little things. You just moved on. Volume. It was a volume sport. You just keep putting up shots. Don't worry about the percentage. Just keep putting up shots.
Yeah, now it's all the analytics and now
Yeah,
because you watch like YouTube, they're showing like little here's an Easter egg from a minute and 36 seconds. Like I didn't even notice that. But
yeah.
speaking of the kids, one of the Hall brothers is actually Jesse Smollett. I didn't find out until I was looking at the Wikipedia on there. I was like that kid looks familiar, and I see
Really?
that's he was the little light skinned one with the little fro and stuff.
Yeah.
And because he kept looking familiar, like, oh, I was like, that got to be somebody. Jesse Smollett. I was like, oh,
Yeah, that's like the original the girl that was on the team. I recognize her from a ton of movies that she's made over the
yeah,
years. As soon as I saw her, I don't know her name like when I see her, but I know the movies she's been in. I was like, oh yeah, I remember her. Of course, I'm sure there's probably a lot of them that you
oh,
know if we knew, but that's always what's fun about these old movies.
yeah. You get to see a lot of guy actors and actors that
Yeah.
probably doing movies or did stuff in the past. That I remember him. They look, but they're like kids. But now you see them adults. I'm like, oh, I didn't know y'all been acting that long.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Look, and let me. So basically, they don't know anything about practice and everything, and then he just basically throwing stuff out there. And let's get into the game where they're
Oh,
playing the Hawks.
the Hawks, the bad, which is going to be your villains, your bad
Yeah,
guys, the bullies.
yeah,
The ones that it's important that Gordon played for the Hawks. That's who he missed the shot for.
yeah,
Um, you look up, they got all the first place banners except for one, and that's the one where he misses the shot. Like they really drive it home what a failure
yes,
he was. And they still got the same coach, still the same coach. Probably what was it? I think they said I think 72 was when he missed
yeah.
the shot. So 20 years later, same coach.
Yeah. You, you never know when it comes to these type of movies. When it comes to, like the kids, they always add so much emphasis on how important this team is and stuff like news
Yeah.
articles. I don't want to. I
That,
don't want to. I don't want to get to the ending part, but we'll get into
okay,
that in a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
because I'm
They
like,
were they were a big deal in Pee Wee, and then our D5 team is not. They don't even really know how to play hockey, which is surprising for hockey players. That really kept standing out to me of how none of them knew how to play hockey.
yeah, not a lick. It basically is teaching them little bit of things in there. But yeah, you would think this is like a college team. How much they got news clippings and then they got a banner because I I I don't remember when they had news clippings. They had like one news clipping of like maybe a Pee Wee if they won a championship or something
Yeah,
like that. But I'm like, dang, I'm like,
I don't. Maybe
this,
Minnesota's different, man. The folks do love their hockey up there. It was kind of neat to see because like this was right about the time in the '90s. You're coming off the Pittsburgh, or this had been right when the Pittsburgh Penguins were winning back to back. This was
oh
really the beginning of the hockey fan boom in America. Like we really started paying attention. They started advertising it better. They put it on major networks, and all there was really a big push for it. So like there's a lot of the stuff they show is like kind of leading into what was going to be, it's really lasted, but it was really like a few years in the '80s, like most American viewers just weren't giant TV hockey fans, and
yeah,
in the '90s it really took off, and so like the Hawks really captured like the uniforms and everything. Actually, that's another thing I want to say. Just the hockey footage I thought was pretty good. Like the on
it
ice
was.
stuff, I thought it sounded and looked pretty good. I thought they did a good job filming this movie and not making it look super fake.
Yeah, like I'm shout out to them not having like clips of grown adults playing hockey and stuff, and then going
Yeah, I
back to
kept
kids.
waiting to see that.
I don't want to see somebody like some Wayne Gretzky out there playing as an extra for Charlie or something like that. Like, okay, that's
Yes,
not
I
that's
kept I kept actually looking for that to see that. And I thought it looked pretty good. Anyway, back to the Hawks destroying our beloved D5 team.
that's putting it nicely. And it, this is the time where Coach Bombay was telling Charlie, who's the nice kid of the group.
Yeah.
He's a sweet innocent kid, and he wanted him to do something dirty, and he refused to do it, and he yelled at him.
Oh
And
yeah, he's wanting to take a dive.
yeah, wanted to take a dive, and
Yeah,
he refused to do it because he's not that type of kid. That's not in his uh,
yeah,
mo. Like,
yeah, yeah. Not a yeah. That was and that. This is where we're learning. This is where we're seeing like the apex of like Gordon's a bad, selfish, do
yeah,
anything to win guy. These kids, they got respect for themselves and dignity and guts. They're just not. They need a coach to teach them how to play hockey. This is right at the apex of like you know the dividing line, um, uh, so to speak. And then of course, coach is going to go talk to moms, and his world changes. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, basically, and he
So
almost lost.
she answers that door.
There are so many times where he almost lost all these kids, and then they come back in
Yeah,
this movie. They're like, "I'm quitting" or this and that, but yeah, it all goes down to like that's his love interest, and you already know what's gonna happen. They're gonna end up together in some form or fashion at the movie. That's just how it is. But I want to get into the how they get the name, the Mighty Ducks, because they're
yeah.
the D
This was
five.
pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Because when you think about it, they were trying. They find. I guess he finally realizes after all the stuff going on, and he was talking to who was the guy, the German guy in that movie? What was his like his?
So I didn't quite. It was funny. I did kind of miss the backstory. I knew that like he was there when he grew up, and I think I don't know if he always just owned the sporting goods store,
Yeah,
that sold all the equipment, but he made the skates for Gordon
yeah,
and all that. So he was probably like maybe he helped guide him kind of because they don't really talk much about outside of him being coached by the Hawks. They don't. That's kind of it that they say of Gordon's like childhood. His dad,
yeah,
his dad died. Then he got coached by this guy, and the German, sporting goods store owner, I think was kind of just like someone that was around and
uh,
supported him, and maybe would have been better for him. Obviously, that was cool that he had his skates ready for him when he shows up because he knew he was the wise old man that knew that he was going to come for the skates. That was cool. Gordon getting well. That's another thing that's kind of weird about this movie. Gordon left hockey. He hadn't played hockey in 20 since the game.
yeah,
Like I'm not sure that he would have been up on the modern teachings of maybe he keeps up with the game through TV or whatever, but he was kind of abandoned hockey, but now he's like a hockey genius. But
yeah,
whatever, it was cool though. That guy was a really good. I like that guy a lot. Really good character. Added a lot to it.
yeah. That was one of the most likable characters on there.
Obi-Wan. He's the Obi-Wan character. I mean, that's what he was.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna put. Obi-Wan was talking to him and everything, and all that stuff, and he kind of came around. And I don't know. I'm trying to remember what came around, like him thinking, "Man, these kids are wearing some terrible uniforms. Let me talk to my boss and everything." And
Yeah,
he talks to his boss about he needs $15,000 just
yeah.
to get all the price of
Equipment and yep,
yeah, and when you think, and then when he started talking to him and stuff, and he tries to reel him in, his boss and everything, and he looks at the name Duckworth, and he's like, "Was it? We're gonna come up with the Mighty Ducks, but we're gonna add Duck, but we're gonna be called the Mighty Ducks."
yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was great. And then he gets them the uniforms and veils them to. But it's so hard to like. It's another thing that if you weren't there at the time, keep in mind the Anaheim Mighty Ducks did not exist at this point. Disney bought them after this movie and moved the team and created a team in Anaheim. The team didn't exist, so this was the first time that we had ever heard this name for a team. So it means something a little different then. So when the team was created, everybody was like, "What? They actually made the team? Like we were? It was so funny. They want to win the championship. So shout out to them."
Yeah, for sure. Because when you think of that, like the most besides the Chicago Blackhawks, people have Mighty Ducks jersey. You don't see that much anymore. I had to look it up as are they still around? But they are still around.
Yeah, they're just the Ducks. I believe they're just the Ducks, but they still have some pretty cool uniforms. But it's not as good as the originals. And I think the originals are from like Mighty Ducks 2. If you watch Mighty Ducks 2, they
Yeah,
kind of change, and that's what the Anaheim Ducks had, at that time. But still, these uniforms actually were pretty dope. I kind of liked the colors. Thought
yeah,
they looked good. The kids loved them. You know what I mean? Like now they were big time, and that probably the montage of them going to the sporting goods store was my favorite part of the movie. I'm a sucker for a '90s montage, and I thought it was great, knocking stuff over and trying
Oh
stuff
yeah,
out, being excited. And I thought that was one of the funnest parts of the movie.
yeah. They were like kids in a candy store, basically, just out there throwing stuff around and wearing this and that. And I don't know if I got older. I'm like, dang, I know the store owner's like,
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, they trashed the dude's store, but it wasn't the man Obi Wan. Our man Obi Wan was like totally cool with it. He was
yeah,
loving it. He's like glad to see kids loving the sport. He was a traditionalist. You know what I mean? Like I could see being that someday. Like I myself, and like I'm 50 now. I would say in another 10 years, if I was that store owner and like I saw kids coming in and buying like, basketball gear, football gear, whatever, I would think it was the coolest thing in the world. So I totally see where he's coming from. He was just so happy to see, young people playing the sport and loving it and enthusiasm and all that. I think he genuinely enjoyed it. He wasn't even worried about cleaning up that store. Didn't look like his sales were great. You know what I mean? Didn't have a lot of other people in there. So I'm not exactly sure what, maybe that was it. Maybe there's a little decline. Maybe people
yeah,
aren't kind of like, I mean, I see that a little bit in basketball now. Like, I don't see as many people in the outdoor courts. You know what I
that's
mean? I
true.
I don't know if there's as many people playing basketball like outside of like
Yeah,
structured basketball as there used to be. So that would make me really happy if a team came in and needed to get outfitted. I mean, of course, it's basketball. I'm just going to give them shoes and ball. But
yeah, yeah. That's the one sport you just need a basketball, a good pair of
that's why it's
shoes.
such a great sport. It's all you
Yeah,
got as long as you can find a rim,
yeah.
even
That's
if rim, even them double rims without nets or anything. See, you play on them things.
if I'd be so happy if I even see anybody playing on them things. I'm like, dang, they're just collecting dust.
I know. Man, I know we got off topic here, but like
Yeah,
even some of them, as much as I love pickleball, when they turn basketball courts into pickleball courts, like a part of me dies, man. But
yeah,
it's all right. Though. I'm not gonna be the old guy. Tell you get off my lawn. I just like to see people playing sports. That's where we get back to. This guy just was like awesome. This is my team. This is my District Five team. He was obviously a District Five homer. Like really cool moment.
yeah. When you brought up about them turning basketball courts to pickleball courts, that happened in my town too, and it kind of brought a little tear to my eye. I'm like,
Yeah, and I love pickleball, but man, it makes me sad.
dang, yeah. That's one thing. Kind of threw me off. I'm like, yeah, they really do be switching the basketball court to pickleball.
Hmm.
I'm trying to. I'm looking back. Okay, so they got their new uniform, they got their new swag, but now they're going back to basics, trying to learn the game of hockey
Loved it.
in like some interesting ways. So learning how to pass the ball with like he got like I don't know how many dozens of eggs.
That was weird. I really liked that, but as they were doing, I was like, yeah, but now the ice is just covered in eggs. But whatever. We can't think about stuff like that. I thought it was really cool. That might be a real thing. It looked real.
Yeah, that
Like I,
honestly looks like a drill that you would teach a youth hockey team.
I mean, we used to like teach that as far as catching the ball, like soft hands, like how to, like so. I mean, it's the same difference, just
Yeah,
instead of a puck. Yeah, again, that whole montage was cool. Was this before or after they went scouting players?
I think this was before
Yeah,
that. That
that was cool when they went and got when they got the figure skaters.
oh yeah,
That was cool.
yeah. The way they were like doing recruiting. I don't want to skip too far. They did a trade and everything. I'm like, they okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
They went all dynasty mode on this team. I was like, you don't see, because usually in certain movies like that, they like, oh, they'll see a bunch of ragtag kids or whatever, and they're like, oh, you want to come play for us?
Oh,
This one,
they got them new uniforms and everybody wanted to be on the Ducks. That's what happened. You know how it is.
that's
They look
true.
good. Then they started winning. Oh, it's great. It was great.
Yeah, and then another trope they did in the movie is they got the big kid Fulton Reed, six
Holy
feet
cow.
tall, 6 foot 200 pounds. Was it 10 or 11 years old?
Yeah, I don't really know the age of this team. I'm just gonna say 12.
Yeah,
They seemed like they were maybe 11 or 12. But so even though they called him Pee Wee, it was kind of weird. They were actually a little older than Pee Wee hockey, but maybe that's I don't know like how far Pee Wee hockey goes. Maybe that's like saying Babe Ruth baseball. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to know the levels of hockey, but Yeah. We get our misunderstood youth.
Yeah,
Apparently, out of football, he's already got a football scholarship. But I mean, you can remember kids like that, like that you really didn't know, and there's these myths around them.
yeah.
Like, oh man, he drove to school in the sixth grade. Like, it's crazy. Yeah,
I
great
was,
character.
yeah, I like that how they described that. That was pretty funny. I was like, okay, that's the thing they used to do in the '90s. Like they see
Oh yeah,
this big kid, so they think, oh, he's going to Notre Dame or something like that, and he
yeah.
played. Yeah, that was pretty funny in that part of the movie.
Yeah, another good character. And what's funny is that actor did not wind up being a big guy. Like he was, I think I'm assuming he was just older than the other kids because he's not a big guy. He still acts a lot,
Yeah,
really. It's in one of my favorite shows, Daredevil. So yeah, but really cool. It showed how hard he can hit the puck, excessively hard, which is
yeah.
that's awesome, a Disney thing. Uh, when he puts out the windows in the limo, super cool, or the
Oh yeah,
bus. That's another thing. Switch from the limo to the bus. So
yeah,
now he's not as selfish. He's not riding around in his limo on his phone. Now he's got a bus to haul these kids around. He really spent some. Yeah, he had lawyer money too. He mentioned that his boss told him, "I'm not taking your salary." So and he was kept saying he's like a 30-0 lawyer. This dude's loaded. They didn't really
yeah,
touch on that. This dude's loaded, so he's spending some dough on these kids.
yeah. That's true because you don't see no house or nothing like that. Like
Yeah,
in most
he
of
had a swanky apartment in the city. You know that.
yeah, because usually they'll go they add that emphasis. Oh, let's look how big my house is.
Yep.
You forgot he was a lawyer at the time, but then when you seen them getting new stuff and I switched into a limo and stuff because when he first got in the limo, he looked like a mob dealer and stuff like that and everything.
Yeah, they really leaned into that. Which that was, I mean, that's what you needed Emilio Estevez for, was that character. That was
Yeah,
the type. Charlie Sheen, his brother, um, would have been even better. But he was already on to like making major league and stuff, so he
yeah,
was past this. But Charlie Sheen is who they were, kind of thinking of, because Wall Street Charlie Sheen
yeah,
was the thought process, and then of course his dad Martin Sheen. So that they all do that, like swanky, oily, rich,
yeah,
kind of pompous. Really pulled it off. Really important for the movie.
yeah, and they all got the same hairstyle and everything, hair
Yep.
slicked back like
Yep. Ah,
that.
man.
And they all kind of sound alike too. That's another thing
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
for sure. They're very
Like
similar.
yeah, like the genetics are strong in that family for sure. And I'm trying. And one thing there's some scenes where there's gonna be some parts where the coach gets on the kid's wrong side and everything. It's like these kids hold grudges, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
like they hold grudges for a while and stuff, and it takes a little bit to get them back on track and everything. Like trying to think. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed about that movie. These kids are not just like, oh, it's okay. No, they're like,
No, they're not. No. They were serious. They were serious. They wasn't taking it, and I kind of liked it. They pushed back on him a little bit.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They weren't suckered in by any means. I mean, for a Disney movie, I assume they're trying to imply that these are as streetwise kids as you could
yeah,
possibly find. Most of them didn't have parents around. I think they all had parents. They signed them up for youth hockey and obviously took them to practice and all these things. But they kind of just let that be. And really, the only parents you got to know were the two brothers, their
yeah, the High
family,
Brothers.
of course Charlie's mom, but there just wasn't a lot of. Well, that was cool because that's not what the movie's about.
Yeah,
It's really outside of Charlie. It really wasn't about. Of course, we had to have. It's about Charlie and Charlie's mom and the coach. I mean, we see what direction we're going here.
yeah. For sure. I feel like they should have like Goldberg's mom being this loud lady
Yeah.
or something like that.
Oh, missed an opportunity. Missed an opportunity.
Yeah, I think that would have been a great opportunity. Like that's probably the only parent you would need in this movie. Like outside, I don't think you need to show everybody's parent in there because that would just be prolonging the movie and trying
Yeah,
to make
that's
everybody.
true. I could have used a little more backstory. Oh, yeah, another great training scene when they tie Goldberg up in the net and
Oh yeah, I forgot
to
about
break
that.
his fear of the puck and just fly. I don't know. I think like I'm pretty sure that's abuse. Like it would have hurt.
It
Like
is.
I mean, yeah, he's like, oh, it doesn't hurt. I'm like, no, it definitely hurts. Like it definitely hurts to get hit with a hockey puck. I'm sure of that. So really had him exposed there. I mean, I don't know how protected he was. I was really concerned about him, but he made it through, and it made
Yeah,
him a better goalie. It made him a better goalie.
yeah. You can't. One thing for sure, if anybody's watching Mike Ducks and is trying to coach a hockey team, no, you cannot tie one of the kids up to the, to the goal.
And shoot pucks. And please don't do that. Please don't. Even if
Right.
it'll make them better, please don't. Don't try it.
Yeah. Don't tie up any of your players and everything. Even um, uh, even at Texas Tech, you cannot do that.
No, no, no. But it worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Effective.
it did work.
But Gordon, you got to remember that. I mean, this dude learned how to play hockey in the '70s. We're talking they didn't wear helmets. You know what I'm saying? Like this was just a point of reference here. In 1992, when this movie was made, there were still a few hockey players that were allowed to play NHL hockey without helmets on. Like that's what we're talking about here. So we're not like shooting pucks at your goalie tied up in the net might not be that big of a stretch.
Nah, that's true because you see most of the hockey players back then, they all were
Mm-hmm.
missing their front teeth. Like
Yep.
there was never a hockey player that had a full set of teeth.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That a lot of them did wear helmets. If like you have a trading card, like are they really
They
playing with?
weren't. It wasn't mandatory. I want to say until early '90s. I believe it was early
Dang,
'90s. But then anybody who's any like there was a certain cutoff date you were grandfathered in that you had the choice. So like there were dudes even after they were mandatory, they were allowed to play without them until they retired. So there were several players out there without helmets on for years, even though the other guys were wearing helmets. Like that's what we're talking
man, they talk about football. I'm like hockey's
about.
pretty intense.
Hockey players, and them dudes are nuts, man.
Yeah, and all the fights and everything, and they just like I ain't wearing a helmet.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have a choice to wear a helmet. You're playing a game on ice at 20 mile an hour with pucks flying around, and you choose can you wear a helmet or not? And they're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, what? Think about that.
and there's guys with protective gear that can shoulder check you, and sometimes the ref
Yeah,
won't even see it. So I'm like,
yeah. It looks funny, man. You go back and watch a game where some of the guys aren't wearing helmets. It looks really weird. Like you feel like, it looks just like football. If a guy accidentally gets his helmet ripped off, you're like, you need to get off the field. But
yeah, it's
that's hockey, man.
yeah, it's basically rugby on skates.
Yeah, it was then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a good thing they wear helmets now. I don't,
It's probably for the best.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think they should stick with the helmets.
yeah. Please do. But get back into them playing dynasty mode and with the Mighty Ducks. So they figured out a loophole.
Oh,
District 5. There's a kid that's from District 5 that plays on the Hawks.
yeah.
Davis, he was kind of more of the you seen him early in there with the other kids, but he wasn't like the big time bully of the group. But he was kind of the smaller kid. But he was like,
Hmm.
but with the Mighty Ducks now, he's kind of more like in the taller kids.
And that was kind of weird too. Like how I don't know how you felt about that. Like Gordon's the one that pushed to get him on the team because he was basically saying that the Hawks were they were kind of stole him from District 5 and he should have been on District 5.
Yeah,
But at that point in the season, into the playoffs, how do you feel about the Ducks coach? Like everything's rolling, everything's
yeah,
going good. He's got his team turned around, and he goes and like wants a player. This poor kid's just playing. He didn't seem like a bad kid. He didn't seem like he was cheating. He was just
yeah,
playing with his team, and he rips him off his team. And then he's like, "Well, if he doesn't play for us, he's not going to play at all." I'm like, I thought that was kind of a dick move by Gordon. I think he
yeah,
should have pointed it out, maybe. But anyway, he just takes a player from the other team late in the season. I was really like, I was messed up.
yeah. Because the team was on a good roll. Like,
Their chemistry was great.
yeah, it was on point. Like, why would you even need the kid on the team? Like, I get if they're like struggling. Okay, we need a glue guy in there. Let's get this team on the roll.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's
But
one of the best players, but it just I thought it was just a cheap thing to do is to take the like and the NBA finals start. It'd be like the NBA finals start, and the Pacers are like, oh, SGA is actually supposed to be playing for us, and they just take him, and that would have been weird.
yeah, I'm glad they don't have that. That'd be something. Could you imagine the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals? Like, oh, that guy's from
Yeah,
Indiana. He needs to play for us now. I'm like,
yeah.
what?
Why didn't they have it that the kid was like, I don't like the way my coach coaches. That was the whole point of this. Is like the the bad coach for the Hawks, didn't do it right and
yeah,
ruined Gordon's. I mean, honestly, like they kind of take it lightly. They kind of really, I'm not gonna say ruined Gordon's life, but he made him stop playing hockey at like
yeah.
10 years old. Like that's a terrible thing to do as a coach. And
Mhm.
then, so I think why didn't they just have Davis be like, you know what I mean? I don't like how you're talking to me. I don't like how you're coaching. His dad could have been like, that's not how my son's gonna play. We're going back to District 5. We found, or maybe Gordon goes to his dad and is like, "You realize your son's actually supposed to play for us," and they work it out that way. Nah, it's just Gordon going up and being like, "He's playing for us or he's playing for nobody." I was like, I don't know. That was kind of a cheating move, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I definitely agree. I was trying to
He's
remember.
really saying he's like, "Oh, Charlie's mom needs me to win. I'm gonna, so I need to win this game." That's all he was thinking about. I know
He's
who
like,
was coaching that team. Yeah, Gordon's.
I totally agree when it comes to that. Why'd you even have to do that? He's like, by any means necessary, I'm gonna take the kid from the other team just because, not because we need a really good player, just
Yeah,
because.
everything. Just because, like, well, yeah, that. You know what? I forgot about that. That's when Obi-Wan stepped in, and that's Obi-Wan's the one that brought that up. He's the one that showed him the map. Obi-Wan had money on the Ducks. That's what happened.
Oh, I
He's the
forgot
one
about.
that brought that up. Nobody knew. And he's like, oh, he's just like, man, just that's weird. Look at this map of the district. And that's when Gordon's like, that's weird. Man, our man orchestrated this whole thing because of a gambling problem on Pee Wee hockey. I can't
Yeah,
believe we cracked the code. I bet Moms was in on it. I bet Charlie's Moms was in on it. That's why she curled her hair like that. She's like, Gordon likes curly hair. Watch this. Watch what I'm gonna make him dinner. She made him dinner.
oh yeah.
She
You
curled
see,
her hair.
they
Mm.
man. So we had DOIs, gambling.
Yeah, they set him up. I bet. Mm-hmm.
Wow, like hey, this movie was a little more mature than
Uh huh.
we thought
See, it
it
was
was.
Spike Lee could have made this movie.
Man, that Spike Lee joint, the Mighty Ducks.
I'm just saying, all this could. That's the only thing that explains him doing the thing with the player. But it was cool. They But the thing is, I actually respected. I forget which of the brothers, you know, um, said it. But old boy comes in the locker room and he was being cool. He's like, I just want to play hockey. He's literally like, I just want to play
Yeah,
hockey, guys. And dude's like, man, ain't having it. Like, you threw us in the trash can. I respected that. I would have been
yeah,
like that too.
yeah. Like I brought up there. These kids remember things. They're not gonna just let it
Mm-mm,
slide. Like
mm-mm.
anything you do wrong to them, they're gonna let you know how they feel, and then maybe they'll eventually forgive you. But yeah, they remember stuff like that
I
about you
respected
throwing.
that. That's probably my favorite player.
Yeah, yeah, he was definitely one of the top five for sure. And you think Davis would be like this big time character coming moving? He was just kind of like on the sideline, just he didn't really
Yeah,
have anything going on.
yeah, it was really kind of wasted. I mean, he was good. I know the whole thing was about will we let this kid in? But okay, I just want to put this out too about the Ducks. Mid-season, they went and grabbed a couple of figure skaters that they just happened to see at the Mall of America, and like, you can come play hockey. The best player in the league that already knows how to play hockey, they're like, nah, we're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, this kid, you're right, man. These kids got a memory.
Yeah, like that's one of the things about this movie. They did little weird things like that, and just like you add a superstar to the team, but he's not really doing anything for you, but he just
Yeah, he's just
owned it.
hanging out with the coach.
Yeah,
Telling you,
and
man, it's rigged. But
there's
how would
some.
you? But also, like, I know you'll get to the ending and what happens. But I'm like, how are you gonna try to beat a team you took their best player? Like, that's a shallow victory. I don't get it.
Yeah, when you think about it, like they really just they took one of their best players and then they just
At the end of the season.
and they barely utilized him like that. But they did but his teammate did something dirty to him we get to the end of the movie. But
That's true.
the let's get into it. The build up for this Pee Wee hockey game was over the top. Like
Great.
we're talking about like one of the Rocky movies type of thing where they had the coaches where they blacked out part of their faces in a newspaper. Of
Oh yeah, slandering him on the front page of the newspaper.
I
Oh,
was
it's
like,
great.
is this a small town? Because when I look at the picture, there's like this big city. I'm like, did you
How
have to
about
read?
seeing? Yeah, how about seeing newspapers again? That was funny.
Yeah,
Like,
I
oh
was
yeah,
about to,
I remember the sports section.
yeah, because man, newspapers are like about this thin now. If you see one, they used to
Yeah,
be like 3 times this size, but they charge you like
and
$4.
it was like the New York Times, like they were putting quotes like you know what I mean, like they weren't just like putting a score up there, they were slandering players and putting angles and pictures and talking about rivalries. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, it feel like and all the music came sound like isn't this from like Rocky 3 or something like that?
It was a great montage. The playoffs montage was really good.
Oh yeah,
I
it was
enjoyed
probably
it.
one. It was probably one of the. It was like '90s and '80s montage
Yeah,
came together and say, you know what, we're gonna
great.
make the biggest montage for this
Yeah.
playoff game. I'm trying. Um, One of my things about it, I'm over here trying to look at my notes and everything, but it was the emphasis on this game was crazy. Like
Oh yeah.
the even the scenes and everything. The kids playing hockey was intense. Like we brought up, it wasn't. They didn't have like these extras of like grown men or adults over here playing. It's like maybe they had some kids that are really good at hockey doing it, but they just switched like, wait a minute, that guy looks like he's about 25 right now.
No, it was cool. I like I say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And again, I thought the sound and stuff was really good. It really did help this movie because me and you have watched enough basketball movies, and when they do it wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the famous double dribble movie, like everybody knows that how bad that was. And I mean, it's sort of we should have done that movie. We should have done some double dribble because I remember them ladies, man. I mean, I watched them play in college and shit. But but it was cool. The montage was great. Really enjoyed it. This is where now we're all in. I mean, everything's clicking at this point. I mean, Gordon and Mom's like
yeah,
they've already they've already had their little moment on the ice and kiss. Pretty good kiss, by the way. That
yeah,
kind of looked real. I don't know if there was anything behind these two off scenes, but like for a Disney movie, like there was some passion there. So these two, they got a future. So that's all set off. All the parents are having all the stands are full. Like everything was
yeah,
just really, really clicking for the Ducks, man. They really, got that town by storm.
yeah, for sure. Because all they were missing is like they just needed Whitney Houston singing the Star Spangled Banner. That's all. That's
They
basically
should have done something like that. That would have been great.
that's all it needed because like you said, it was like a packed house full of people, and
Oh, great! I
I'm
loved it.
like, that's all you only can see that in the '90s or something like that because that, that
I gotta say, them hockey towns they're nuts. I mean, they probably would have put on a show.
oh for sure. Yeah, I'm coming from the South. Hockey is kind of like, oh, we have a minor league hockey team. We'll go watch or something like that, but it's not like add emphasis on hockey like you do in
So
like Minnesota.
I mean, that's one of the things about this movie I like now because then obviously it's before, but my nephew played youth hockey here in Ohio, and he played for a team called the Penguins. And he also played for a team called the Generals, who around here are pretty good. Actually, he wasn't on the team, but one of the teams he played for went on to win like the state title one time.
Okay.
After he was done playing, so it was a big deal. So I've been to a lot of these rinks and watched a lot of Pee Wee hockey. So like this was very authentic. Like this is kind of what it looks like.
So it's just packed full of like a lot of people. How,
Oh
how's
yeah,
it?
the big they because sometimes they play in Columbus. There's a place called the Chiller, which is where like the Columbus or the Columbus Jackets like practice and stuff. But they also play games there, and it is about the size of this arena. And yeah, with big games like it was like this, and it was crazy, and it was just like any other little league sport. You got all the drama and all the political stuff and all the talking about the coach behind the scenes. Like it's literally a lot like this.
It doesn't sound like Texas high school football in a nutshell.
I don't know, man. Y'all's a little different.
It
Like
just,
Ohio high school football is crazy, but you guys are nuts.
yeah, like when you think of like Friday Night Lights. That's basically a crowd in a nutshell and everything. And
Yeah,
you got
yeah,
some
yeah.
parents that are like,
It's we around the country. We respect you all for your passion.
I appreciate it because California and Florida thinks they're
Yeah.
well,
Well, you
well,
know what? Hey, and y'all get to come to Ohio here in a couple months and get
oh
your
yeah,
get your payback, man. You know what I mean? Get your chance. So we'll see how this goes.
yeah, that's definitely be fun for sure. We definitely got to do a show when that comes around just to talk about that.
We'll try.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll
I
try.
think I'm ready. I think I'm ready for it. It's tough, man. That being the first game of the season's got I'm a mess, but that's all right. I can't worry about it now. I gotta enjoy this off season and
Yeah, for sure. Uh, dang, I got into that little bit. I'm trying to think about the
you start thinking about high school football. You ready to go?
yeah, for sure. But this okay into the movie. Of course, it was. Oh, I forgot to bring up. Okay, Davis, the kid. So the coach did one of
Oh
the most
yeah,
foulest moves to one of the former players. I don't know if you want to go into details of what he
yeah.
did.
So I mean, he tells his team that he tells a couple of the goons. That's what they call them in hockey, the goons, to take out Davis, the
Yeah,
kid that used to play for him. Keep in mind, like his dad is still wearing like Hawks gear. Like he's still tied to this team. He played with all these kids, and they cross check him from behind into the goalpost. He scores, and so this is kind of good. So this is the difference in the '90s and now.
yeah,
This kid gets knocked out with some sort of head injury.
yeah,
They take him off strapped to a stretcher, and everybody's like, "All right, let's go back and play." I guess the most traumatic thing that most of us would have ever saw their guy just got carted off on a stretcher. You know what I mean? Like, and they're like, "Dad, we're good. We'll get him for you." And I'm like, "This kid's going to the hospital. Like nobody cares." But yeah, so the head coach has him cheap shot the kid and hurts him. So this is when we know this is what was unique about this movie, and I liked it. The head coach for the Hawks does not wind up being redeemed. He stays a jerk through the whole movie. Like
yeah,
at this point now, you can't come back from that. You know what I mean? You might go to jail.
yeah. You got
So yeah, I liked it that he wasn't going to come to his senses and be like, congratulations. I should have never been. Nah, he stayed an ass right till the very end. And Gordon tells him,
yeah, yeah. He got you got to give him that. He didn't fall to like some certain movies, but yeah, that move and the kids were just straight out probably. Yeah, we're gonna. What they said? Yeah, we're gonna take him out. I'm like, okay, Ivan
that was so
Drago's
messed up, man.
like they just took a book from Ivan Drago. He dies, or something. I was like,
Yeah, there you go. But it was that. But that's how they got. I mean, that's how they got him out of the movie. So now we're back to the core Mighty Ducks. You
yeah,
know what I mean? I think it was a tie game, or they were down one, whatever it was, maybe down two. I can't quite remember. But that's how they got. So now they can't depend on Davis. So so like they've ripped this kid off his hockey team, and then they blackball him when he comes to their team.
yeah,
Not everybody's on board, which they do make. That's right. The older brother does come over and shows respect. That's right, when he's going off the ice, which was cool.
yeah,
And then now this kid's going to the hospital. He's got to be like, what happened to my life in the last month? What did I do to deserve this?
yeah. You just
And
feel
don't put
sorry for
people in
that kid.
trash cans. That's like, I guess that's the story.
Yeah, and you may end up with some in the big
Yeah,
championship game. Might be taken out by your own teammates.
yeah.
I still can't get past that. Like when you see him laid out, I'm like, is he okay?
It's like it's so traumatic, and everybody's like, "Nah, it'll be fine." That's what we thought back then. Didn't matter what happened. Nah, it'll be fine. You might not see straight for 3 weeks. It's fine.
Yeah, it was called back then. He got his bell wrong.
Yeah, all they had to do was hurt his arm or something. You know what I mean? Like not risk CTE. All they had to do was be like, oh, he hurt his forearm or his
Yeah,
ankle, just something that he can recover from and play. Not ruin this kid's life. I don't know. That was extreme, but it is what it is.
yeah, because they had him strapped up to a thing. He was like this. I'm like, that's
I mean, he's
not.
on a backboard, AB. They put this kid on a backboard, and they're like that's what it took to shock us in the '90s. It's like, nah, broken arm ain't gonna do it. I don't know, maybe take out his knee. I don't know if that's gonna have the impact. I think we got to go full paralysis. Like we got to put this kid on a backboard. Like Yep, that's it. That's the only thing that's going to save us. Like that'll get the people riled up.
Yeah, they triple down, that double down on the injury.
Man, yeah, there you go. You know what? Hey, there if he sold out though. We're talking about it 35 years later.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the things that threw me off. But in most movies they guarantee the underdog team is going to win it all, and they did.
Yeah, the
But,
flying V, the flying V, can't stop it.
yeah, that flying V was actually pretty cool.
And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was cool when they brought that out. They didn't. I'm sure there's a on a cutting room floor somewhere they practice this or something, and we get to see it in one of the montages that just got cut out because they almost acted like we knew what they were talking about. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about with the flying V. He's like, let's do the flying V, and everybody got excited. I'm like, I think we're supposed to know. Just like you said with Rocky, it's like when he tells Rocky to switch to southpaw. Like we know that it's going to happen. We know nothing about this flying V, so I think it just got cut. But it was cool. Flying V was cool.
Yeah, it was because I was thinking, did I miss something? I didn't remember nothing about the flying V because they're like, yeah,
the same thing. I'm like, am I supposed to know what this is? But I liked it.
Yeah, almost had me Googling or something like, is that a thing?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the Karate Kid crane kick. Like we saw him practice it. I'm sure that somewhere they practiced the flying V. Oh yeah, we forgot about the. I don't even know. I don't know which. I think it was the championship game. I don't remember. Just want to shout out to the figure skater, the female figure skater, distracts the whole team, and then her little brother makes the goal. That was cool. That was a neat little Statue of Liberty play.
Yeah, it threw me off a second. Like, what? He spit it. Oh, and then I seen the. I was like, oh, that was pretty smart.
Yeah, then our man hits one through the net. That was cool.
Yeah. Man, it's just like I watched the movie yesterday a little bit, finished it off today, and I'm like, dang, did I miss anything? But that's one of the biggest parts. But going to the end of the movie, they're at the Greyhound bus.
Okay, this shit's crazy, man. But go ahead, let's talk about this.
I want to see. I wonder if we talk about the crazy part because all the kids all lying, telling Coach goodbye and everything. And you're like, why are they telling Coach goodbye? And he gives his kiss to his girlfriend at this point.
It's his girlfriend now. Like they're in.
Yeah. Charlie's just like, yay!
Oh, he a full stepdad now.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah. She got him a lawyer. You got a little change in his pocket. You got a hockey player.
Yes. Now, let's get to the part where he said, "I'm gonna go try out minor league hockey. I'm a undefeated lawyer, but you know what? I'm gonna go be a minor league hockey player just for nickels and dimes."
I ain't played hockey since I was 10. But we remember when they talked to Mike Madonna, who then was the Dallas. I believe he played for the Dallas. You know what? He might have. That team might have still been in Minnesota, the Minnesota Stars. That's probably why that makes more sense. Yeah. Minnesota moved to Dallas. But anyway, the Stars. It was like Mike Madonna is like terrible actors by professional athletes. By the way, these two they're two actual NHL players. I remember them. Terrible acting in that scene way early in the movie. He's like, hey, I'll get you a tryout with the minor league team. Why would he remember a 10-year-old and ain't seen him in 20 years? Why would he offer him a tryout? I don't even know what he did to deserve that. But anyway, Gordon's going to go try out for go play minor league hockey. Like, what? I was like, I don't know what's happening.
So you're going to go from this 6-figure job to where you may make luckily 5 figures
and get your teeth kicked in by a bunch of kids. Like he's also old. Let's keep in mind he's already damn near. He's in his 30s at this point. Like, but you know what? Their moms, man, she was there for him. I'm a real supportive woman. Yeah, so I bet he started his own firm. I bet he was doing some lawyering on the side.
Yeah, he's got to be because you never.
He's like, I'll be back to coaching next season. I'm like, it's the same time of season as minor league hockey. I don't understand what you're playing this year. You're gonna go play minor league hockey for a month? What are we doing?
I don't know. I feel like they could have took that scene out because it didn't make any sense. And then like you brought up about the acting of those hockey players. They're really good hockey players, but the acting was kind of.
Oh yeah, it was bad. Yeah, you're right. It's much better. And another thing, he's like, Gordon's like, don't worry, Ducks, I'll be back to coach you next season, which we're already setting up the sequel, which, by the way, the sequel's really good. Mighty Ducks 2 is really cool. But he's like, I'll be back to coach you next season. And all the kids start celebrating. I'm like, none of them aged out of hockey. Like, they're all going to be there next year. It doesn't make any sense. You know what
That's
I'm
true.
saying? Like, half those kids at least would be moving on to high school or something.
Yes.
I didn't get that either. But anyway, I'm nitpicking here. You know, I'm not. I shouldn't rain on that parade. They're just having a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when you think about even with the Fulton, you're like, should you be a freshman or a sophomore in high
Yeah, you got
school?
yeah, you already got a scholarship to play football. He's like, yeah, I'll be back. I'm like, dude, you're like 16 already. I don't think there's no way that all those kids were even within the rules to play on that team. Like, we hadn't even talked about like Gordon cheating as much as the other coach did, just in a different way. There's gonna be a scandal. I bet they'd lose that trophy. I'm
Oh,
just telling you, it ain't gonna happen.
yeah, because you had kids that okay, the spunky little Italian kid,
Uh huh.
he was about 9 or something like that,
Yeah.
and then the little round faced kid, I'm like, wait, these kids are at least 8 or 9, and then you see the girl in the belt, and you're like, she's about 12.
The one girl, like, so the one girl that was on the team, I apologize for just saying the one girl. I don't remember her name, but the original, they didn't really dig into the females too much, so like
Yeah,
there wasn't much of a storyline there. Like when they went and got the figure skater, that's really she did the the spin or whatever. The rest of the movie, that's really all she did. Like they didn't give them a lot of you know. But anyway, the original girls on the team. Like 2 years later, like she's in like movies as like a teenager.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wait a minute. She had to be 16 when they made the movie. Had to be.
yeah. I was like that. About majority of all those people were like teenagers, and they talking about
Yeah.
we'll be back next year. No, you're going to high school.
No, you know you ain't. You'll be driving to practice. I bet. I bet though with that mix of actors, I bet there is somewhere there's some seedy, stories about like when you make these movies because like you said, they're all a bunch of teenagers. You know what I'm saying? And like they got money coming in, and we interviewed the guy that starred in the Monster Squad a few years ago, and he made that movie, and he was like, I want to say he was 13 when they made the movie, but they're living in Hollywood making a movie, and he's like, yeah, we had just as much fun as you think a 13-year-old would, having some money coming in, living in Hollywood. So like, I bet these Ducks were crazy, man.
Yeah, I bet there are a bunch of crazy
They
stories.
seemed like a fun group. They really did.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like how Sandlot, you could tell that these kids enjoy being
Yeah.
around each other because I still can't get past about them being Pee Wee because some of those kids are going to be having facial hair growing in. You know what they're going to do?
Yeah.
Change.
So,
I'm still
but yeah,
12.
but they set up the sequel. It was a decent ending, and it did. Another thing though, they just kept moving on the movie. Again, they didn't do the redemption story with the other coach.
Yeah.
They were just like, "You're an ass from start to finish." Moved on with that. Dude's like, "I want to go try out for minor league hockey." Roll credits. You know what I mean? Kiss my girlfriend again. Roll credits.
Yeah, it wasn't no what they call after the movie where you gotta watch until the scene
Nope.
over when they
Nope. There's no follow up. There's no nothing. It's just like win the championship, getting on this Greyhound bus. Which way? I mean, it was kind of cool how they did it. I don't know. There was it was what it was. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're just kids watching a movie. You don't have to worry about the time of year this guy's going to go play minor league hockey. Maybe he made it. You know what I'm saying? Like hockey goes deep into this. Maybe he went right after the season, and he's going to finish out the season with a minor league team, which probably goes into like May. So he had a couple months after the Pee Wee Championship, play minor league hockey. He will come back. He will start up a law firm, hang out with Charlie's mom, and coach hockey next year. Really not a bad life. Actually, you know what, Gordon? Really, I don't blame him.
Yeah, they're pretty smart when you bring it up. In D2, do they even are even those kids back, or is it just like a whole different team?
I do not remember if any of. I think some. I think I want to. I want to say Kenan Thompson's in that movie.
Oh
I
yeah, he
believe,
is.
and yeah, maybe Goldberg. I'm not 100% sure because I'm actually going to watch it because I haven't seen that one. And I've seen that one more than I have the original
That's
because I
true.
think it was just on more. Maybe I have no idea why I've seen it more. Maybe my son watched it. I don't have any idea why I've seen it a couple more times. but I don't really remember it. So I'm definitely going to watch it. I mean, I got to see where. I think there's like three. There might be four. Like
Yeah,
they kept it going.
there's actually three because I looked at it on when I was watching on Disney Plus. There might be a four, or that could be that animated one. But
Oh yeah, dude. So if anybody doesn't know, anybody likes this Mighty Ducks movie or whatever, I highly recommend. They made a cartoon
oh,
that was the Mighty Ducks, and they were like kind of superhero hockey player ducks, actual ducks, not dudes, like ducks. One of the great '90s cartoons. That thing was awesome. If you can, I don't know if it's on Disney Plus or not, but if it is, check it out. It's right up there. Like if you're a Gargoyles fan, everybody's a Gargoyles fan.
yeah,
Check out the Mighty Ducks. It was really cool.
yeah, like
They milked this franchise.
Oh yeah, because they had the what's it called, McDonald toys and everything.
Everything. Loved it. Yeah.
It was the intensity of that show. If when you watch it, like this was the
right?
90s because they had some
that's how Gargoyles
visuals.
is, man. Like Gargoyles, like I watch it now, I'm like, woof. Like they pull out guns, they're shooting stuff, they're shooting people and stuff. Like what is happening?
You would think they were on those HBO cartoons, but no, this is Disney.
Yep, it was just on TV for anybody to watch. Yep.
Yeah, you didn't have to look for it. Like it was on the Sunday morning cartoons and stuff. I
Yep.
remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cool.
But yeah, you brought up because I thought I watched the Mighty Ducks, but when I thought about it, it was the D2 one I watched a couple of times, and they showed that one a lot more than the first one for some reason.
Yeah, I think that one. Yeah, that was a big movie. That did a lot. Everybody was excited coming off the first one, and D2 is a huge movie. Had a little more money behind it, looked a little better, little. I won't say better actors, but some a little more known actors, and than maybe the original. But I'm sure there's some crossover. I'm sure when I go back and watch it, a lot of these kids are going to be in it. But it was a good time.
Yeah, because I think a lot of a few of them from the All That cast was on there. So
yeah, what a great show! What a great show!
That was definitely a good one.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about we're about to go on a nostalgia trip on here. We keep talking about
we always do. We always do.
Hey, people watch and listen, they like it and everything. So we appreciate y'all for sure.
Absolutely.
We got one more 90s sports movie review show, and that is Remember the Titans.
Oh man.
We couldn't. They wouldn't let us down if we didn't do Remember the Titans. So.
Oof.
We're basically showing love back to
That's a lot.
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah, here's my thought about Remember the Titans. Remember you watched Remember the Titans and thought we cured racism? We're all cool now because we all watched Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed in America. So disappointed. How did we watch Remember the Titans and we are where we're at now? What's wrong with people?
You know what? Everybody in America just need to watch Remember the Titans. All of us together just right now.
Yeah. If they can do it, anybody can. Yeah, great movie. One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, that's definitely be a fun movie to talk about next week, and we get
another Denzel Washington movie.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. Is we're gonna because then next month we're gonna be doing our
Hard Knocks to be firing up soon.
Yeah, was it season 4 or 5? I got to look back into it. I think we're on.
This should be our 4th at least.
Yeah. 4th. We did the Cowboys, we did the Jets, we did the Bears.
Oh, man, this better be better than the Bears. I'm telling you.
We got the Bills.
The Bears.
The
Bills going to be good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The
Bears one was the Mighty Ducks that we just watched was more gritty than the Bears one. Hard Knocks last year.
Man, that was a tea party basically. That was nice as whack.
Yeah. Anyway.
Fingers crossed on that. Like the Bills will give us something to talk about more than the. Well, they will because you always watch the Bills. They're always having a fight or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be cool. They ought to just bring Diggs back just for the entertainment value.
They should have kept.
I want to see Diggs show up to the Bills training camp with his bag of whatever Dixie dust, whatever it is. That's what I want to see.
Bag of pink dust.
I want him to come back, visit Josh Allen with his Dixie dust.
If anybody don't know what we're talking about, just go look it up on Twitter or on YouTube. Put in Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
boat trip. Let's say
Boat, yeah, there you go, boat trip. That's what I want to see. That's a show they ought to make. Let's let us see these off-season boat trips these guys do.
they weren't allowed on TV
Nope,
because
nope.
a lot of these guys like to party, and if you can't put certain things on
Yep.
TV,
I
it
just want
ruins
to
the
follow.
reputations.
I just want to put a helmet cam on Chet Holmgren for like this whole week after the championship. That now that's entertainment. That dude's wild, man.
Oh, my headphones fell.
Uh,
Uh, man, I know I lived in Oklahoma City for 10 years.
oh yeah, that's
I can't,
right.
I can't imagine how I was watching videos. Everybody that I knew I went to school with was at the parade.
Oh,
And
that's cool, man. Is that a cool city? I don't know anything about Oklahoma City.
it's cool, but they're not like like certain cities have like a certain emphasis on certain things, like food
Hmm.
wise, or
Yeah,
but it's like a laid back type of town. But I know when they got the Thunder, it just emphasized it. I went to my class reunion a couple years ago. It's a lot different when I was there. See, they got a lot more going on and everything.
okay.
I guess because when you add a major pro sports team to a town,
It
a
does change
city,
stuff.
it changed everything because you need that downtown scenery when you have people coming from different cities and
That's
stuff.
true. I was just curious because like it's like Oklahoma City is smaller than Columbus. Columbus is one of the smaller major league cities, and Oklahoma City is much smaller than Columbus. I was just curious what it was like. It seems cool, but I don't have a clue. I've never been out to Oklahoma, so I don't have any idea.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a mid tier type of city, but it's the largest city in Oklahoma. Then Tulsa, and then everything else is number little small towns like
Okay.
5,000 type of population town.
Okay, everything's spread out. I got you.
Yeah, but when you brought the Chet home, he
Chet,
had
Chet owns that city right now. I'm sorry, he owns it.
for sure. Before I let you go, did you see how SGA was during the Good Morning America?
No, I missed it.
He looked like he was blazed. That
Yeah, oh, I bet he was. Yeah, he hadn't been to sleep. Oh man, no, I didn't get to see that.
yeah,
I like
like
that guy though. He seems like a decent guy.
that whole team's likable. I was rooting for the Thunder to go and win the finals. Like there's not like I can't stand
Yeah,
this team.
you know what? That you're right. They were. I don't really like the Pacers as a rule, but I don't find them like. Now, when the playoffs started, I didn't like Halliburton. And I don't mean that in a real way. I mean like in a sports way. Like I was like, man, I don't. I told my wife because they're going to play the Cavs, and I
Yeah,
told her, I'm like, you're going to really dislike that guy by the time the playoffs are over, and she did because they whooped them and all that. But by the time that was over, I didn't mind them. I didn't. I thought I was going to learn to like really really dislike them, and I'm like, nope. They played hard and they played good, and even McConnell. I mean, that's not my cat. You know what I mean? But he balled out. I mean, what can I say? These guys played hard. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So yeah, I really enjoyed the finals, like both teams. So it was cool.
yeah. I was thinking about TJ McConnell. That's a hard nosed point guard on that team. Like,
Yeah.
man, that NBA final was a good one, but we'll be back next week with Remember the Titans, and then next month we got Hard Knocks with Jeff and AB. We're gonna be talking
Can't
about the
wait.
Buffalo Bills. Please, Bills, all you gotta do is be at the level. What was our best Hard Knocks we watched? The Cowboy one, the
Oh,
Jet.
you forgot about the Lions, man.
Oh no, the
That
Lions
was
was
the
number one.
best.
That was the best one. The
Wait,
Lions.
this is number 5.
Yeah, dang, wow.
That's what I thought. Yeah, the Lions was real good. That's a Dan Campbell season.
Can Sean McDermott be leasing that middle of right there?
Yeah, and we was right about our man Aaron Glenn, by the way. We called it that season on Hard Knocks that he was the dude. Now look at him, head coach.
Yeah,
Like
like
we nailed that one, and we nailed the Chicago one. That dude's not a head coach.
yeah, he's our defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He's a good defensive coordinator, but head coach wise,
We'll see. I hope so, man. We'll so.
fingers
And we
crossed.
said about the Cowboys that the best coach on the team was on the sideline, and now Dan Quinn is a much better coach than your boy McCarthy. We nailed it. We've been right about all these. But we were right about the Jets coach getting fired too.
Yeah, that's true.
Whew,
Thank,
man, you watch out for your Hard Knocks. We're
I'm
coming.
like,
We're coming after you.
hey, can we be on the top tier of the Hard Knocks list of podcasts to listen to? Because we're hitting on the money. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, we're killing it, man. We should be. It's gonna
Oh,
happen.
oh, for sure. But hey, this has been Tacos and Touchdown Live 90s Sportz Movie Review. Episode 3 will be back next Thursday talking about Remember the Titans. Y'all have a good one. Peace.